you gonna come in with the question, or you want me just to go?
Well, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna give a little intro. So, good afternoon. Welcome to the Blackstone Temple. I'm here with my friend Art Johnson. And he has a couple things he wants to talk to you guys about, talk to the family about, and let's see what type of message he has for us today. So, without any further ado, Art, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell me, a little bit about your background, where you're from, and we'll take it from there.
Man, I appreciate you having me on here, and I just want to make sure you guys get a shot of this. This is one of the more amazing things I think I've seen in my life, just to have in your studio. Like you said, my name is Arthur Johnson. I'm founder of My Road to College. I was born and raised in Gardena, California, where I went to the city schools, elementary, middle school, and high school. I went to college at Clark Atlanta University. Also, I went to graduate school at Clark Atlanta University. I kind of wanted to jump straight into like the My Road to College and how I kind of got started with that. I've been a counselor in the LA area for the past 9 years, and I've always concentrated on students getting into the next level of education, whether it was school, whether it was some type of trade, whether it was something where they were going to be able to be self-sufficient after high school. My biggest issue is that within high schools, there's kind of a drop-off between what takes place after graduation. Every high school is built for you to be successful there, but then after you graduate, it's more of a question of what do you do afterwards? How do you earn money? How do you not go to prison? How do you not die? And pretty much most of my early works in counseling was in the community schools that had a large amount of foster kids, had a large amount of students. As soon as they graduated, they saw the inside of jail, prison, or for some, unfortunately, they saw 6 feet deep. And it was extremely, it touches your heart a little bit, right, to where you got to come up with a different option. And that's kind of where My Road to College first started. When I was at Washington, they gave me an intervention counseling role, and I was to mentor a group of students that were considered at risk, not for not graduating, but at risk for going to prison. And one of the first things we did is we took them around to the different colleges. We put them in different groups with people who were 4.0 students at other schools, and what you started to see is students start to configure to what you expect of them and the environment you put them in. We had a bunch of students that almost didn't pass any courses with us, and they were excelling in classes where there were nothing but AP students, advanced placement students from other schools. When you expect a student to act a certain way, when you give them the proper opportunities to succeed, they usually step up. And that's kind of where I came up with it. We went from there to actually developing a plan to focus on how to get students to that next level. So the plan originally, and still is, to increase the motivation of the student to want to learn. And that's where it is. Like, you have to increase the student's level of want to. You have to get the student to want to learn. So you got to show them the fun stuff. You got to show them what they're going to get. What can you get? Like, you tell everybody, you go to college or you go to a trade school or you do something after high school to prepare yourself to be able to make a certain type of living, but we never tell them why. We never put them in a limo. We never put them in a nice car. We never take them out to these nice restaurants and show them what you get with the nice money. Like, we tell them, you can get a nice job, you can get this if you come out of there, but that doesn't matter to somebody that's never seen that other side or doesn't know what that means. So we increase their want and desire to be successful in education by showing them the other side. We take them on a college tour. We have a college tour this spring where we're taking 40 students from the inner city, trying to do it for free, and that's why we're doing it with the donations of the city. We're taking 40 students for free from the inner city on a 4-night, 5-day college tour of Northern California, where we're also going to give them 3 workshops where we're going to discuss things such as financial assistance, how to be successful, because we know there's about a 60 to 70% dropout rate once a student gets there. So now we have to educate our students on not only how to get to college, but how to be successful there so that they matriculate throughout their 4 years and graduate. And also just how to find work out afterwards. And we give them those workshops. We're also going to give them the activities to where they get to have fun, and that's where it's at. So we make sure that they're motivated and they understand what it takes to get there. They want to get there. Then we focus on just the basic plans on getting into college, making sure your GPA is right. We work with you on test scores and different things of that nature. I know it's a little long, but hopefully I covered.
No, that's very good. That's very good. I want to encourage you to continue to answer like that, as detailed as possible. So I do know that I noticed on the website myroadtocollege.com that you guys stated on the website that you have, I believe the term was, more of a holistic approach to dealing with the students. So with that being said, my question would be, approximately how many students have you had the pleasure of taking on tours and giving them this experience so that, you know, they will have a different outlook and a better understanding of the direction they'll be going in once they graduate high school?
Man, that's an excellent question, and thank you for putting the website out there. It's www.myroad2college. That's MYROAD, the number 2 college.com. We've been doing it for about 8 years. Over the past 8 years, we've been going on college tours where we've been taking 40 to 50 students in the spring, and that's predominantly the trip that we did. So we've been doing about the last 8 years during the spring for the college tour that route. But we've also been providing an academic coaching service which came along to it, and that's been for about, we had probably about 200 to 400 students every year that we worked with on the academic coaching scene. And the academic coaching part is also huge. That's the portion of it to where we really get to dig in on their grades and teach them how to be a proper student. We dive in and we show them how to be successful in education. A lot of our students aren't sure how to get the highest grade possible, and we kind of dive in and we analyze and figure out a way to get their grades as high as possible. So through the academic coaching service, probably about 200 to 400 kids every year. The college tours, we did about 40 a year, and we were able to take them out on that.
So when you take the students out on the college tours, what is like the overall type of activities that they get involved in or get engaged in once they get to these college campuses that keep them focused on that?
Man, I really appreciate that question also, because our college tours are different than any other college tour that you pretty much went on. Our college tours consist of 2 to 3 different components. Most college tour only consists of one. We go in, we get the traditional college tour from the university where we find out the majors, how much money does it cost to go to school, and our students get a chance to ask trained professionals different questions about just majors, history of the school, and different things of that nature. One of the things for our students, because I deal with a largely minority population, most of my students are either African American or Hispanic, that we work with from the inner city, we also have to show them another side of the university, and we usually go through either the Greek letter organizations or we go through the Black Student Union or Hispanic Student Union to kind of get an understanding and a college tour of what can our students expect being minority students on the campus. How can they be successful? Most colleges now have special, they have different programs set up on campus to help minorities go there. They know that right now financially a lot of us are lacking, so they have different programs where you get free print, you get free meal plans, you get free different things. So we have the Hispanic Student Union, Black Student Union, our Greek letter organizations to kind of show us that. We also ask individuals to come out and show us kind of a fun side. So when we do go to a campus, we get the college tour, we get the tour from the social organizations, and then we usually break down and have like a little meal, a barbecue, or we eat on the campus to where our students could then interact with college students and kind of just get an understanding of what it feels like to be on a college campus. So we usually go out on our tour, our 4-night, 5-day tour. We usually get 9 different campuses that we go and see.
Nice.
On about 5 of the campuses, you get a tour like that. 2 of the campuses are usually kind of a scavenger hunt where you have to go onto the campus and you have to be college students. Go to the financial aid office and get this information. You're $3,000 short for attending this school. Figure out a way or a place to go to get that $3,000, and then you got to go out and kind of figure it out, and each pocket goes their own separate way. At the end of the tour, the whole group, the group is split up into different departments, and they give a presentation to faculty and staff of one of the schools that we choose. They do a presentation on what did they learn on this trip and what are they going to take back to their community, because one of the biggest components that we understand that we're able to reach a good number of students, but the real power of the program is going to be from the students that we reach, them going back into their community and reaching other students.
So one thing that you do in an effort to spread the word and get the message out about this organization is you tend to go out and do public speaking, and you speak, I would imagine, from time to time at schools and things of that nature. So if anybody was ever interested in getting in touch with you to see about arranging that for any students that they want to help mentor or coach the correct way on how to maneuver their way through college, how could they get in touch with you?
Man, I appreciate that. My telephone number, you can contact me directly at 404-444-0188. Once again, my telephone number is 404-444-0188. Or you can email me. My email address is ajohnson, that's AJOHNSON, at myroadtocollege. That's at my road, ROAD, the number 2 college.com. Now, there's 2 different ways you can contact me. You can contact me if you want me to talk to a whole group. I have no issue with that, and I would love to speak to your group. I could come in and speak to about anything dealing with academics, dealing with life, dealing with social emotional, or anything like that. I am a trained school counselor. I can come in and speak on that level. If you want me just to come in and your student is having trouble, I have no problem with coming out and contacting me, and I could definitely work with your student individually. Or you could contact me and say, yo, I work for this group and we would like to go on a tour. Can you set it up for us, or can we go on yours? Please contact me. My whole thing is coming back and helping out my whole community and figuring out how can we make sure that every student not only understands the route that it takes to get into college, but now has the opportunity to reach those opportunities to get there. So not only understanding the route it takes, but also having the resources to go that route and actually be able to compete.
So compared to your personal experience in college, can you compare that to the experience that you're bringing students on this tour? And is there a difference in your opinion? Is what you're doing for these students, do you feel it's even more effective than some of the things that you may have learned before you went to college?
It's 2 different things. I was blessed enough where I was able to accept the athletic scholarship to go to school, but there was a lot of things that I was lacking beforehand that I didn't know about school, like the preparation it took to compete in the classroom, the preparation that it would take throughout college to put myself in a situation to get a job afterwards, or just a preparation to get into the top school of your choice. So the students that I work with, I give them all of those opportunities. So most of the students now are dealing with trying to get into highly selective schools. At this point, you graduate from high school, you most likely will be accepted by some school. Just the way it goes. The schools at this point are opening the door. The money's there. So they're opening the door for you. Our main goal, especially with our inner city students, is making sure that you stay there throughout the duration of the time and graduate, and also that you can finish the school without having $90,000 worth of debt. And that's where we need to be at. So what I do is I work with them to find a school that you're going to be able to feel comfortable with, and that's why you have to go and see different types of schools. You have to get onto the campus to understand, do I want to go to a campus that's larger? Do I want to go to a smaller campus? Do I need to go to a school with more minority students? Do I need social organizations? Do I need a program that's going to help me academically, because right now I'm not there? So you need to get out there and actually see these type of programs to get an understanding of which one would be best for you. Also, the second component is schools are about $30,000 a year. You're looking at the Pell Grant giving you about $4,000. Parents at this point just don't have it, or haven't started. We haven't evolved yet within our minority culture to start planning for our students' college tuition. So at this point, most of our students are graduating their senior year of high school with $0 prepared to go towards their college tuition, and they're already looking at a $30,000 debt. So you need to start prepping that student on how are you going to pay for this? How are you going to get this student financially prepared so that they could get through this year, get through the next 4 or 5 years, because at this point we're looking at an average of 5.5, 6 years, to be able to graduate and not come out with a lot of debt. And that's the knowledge that we're giving our students. I think what we need to do is understand the data. Understand what we're looking at. We're looking at $30,000 a year. We're looking at a 4-year graduation rate within California right now of about, what is it? What they say, 15%?
Wow.
Like, you know, it jumps because it jumps from the 4-year graduation rate to the 6-year graduation rate. The 6-year graduation rate within a lot of the CSUs, I think, are around like 40%. But you're still looking at only 40% are graduating within 6 years. So if you're looking at 6 to 7 years, and this is at the cheapest locations that you can get, that's going to be about $15,000 to $17,000 with room and board and tuition. That's 7 years times 15,000. If you're not getting any financial aid. Now, if you're looking at another school where that is more expensive, you're looking at 7 years, 6 years times 30 times 40,000. Like, we just have to look at the numbers, and we need to be realistic with ourselves. Like, we need to put in the effort and make sure that our young people in our communities are put in position to be successful. Meaning that when they're getting to their senior year, how many scholarships have they already been accepted for? Like, come on, like, we need to make sure our kids are waking up, going to the corner and like on Saturdays, fill out these 2 scholarships, starting in the 7th grade, starting in the 6th grade. Are we starting to study for the SAT and ACT in the 6th, in the 5th grade? Or are we starting a month before they take the SAT in their junior year? We have to start prepping, and that's what this is for. It's going to give you the preparation to be successful at the highest level, at the next level.
So seeing as how you did, you had the pleasure of receiving an athletic scholarship, I'm sure from time to time you may come into contact with students that are athletes who may depend a little too much on the sport that they're involved in order to help them get to college or be successful, and they may not have much of a backup plan. How much would you say you've encountered that, and how hard or easy would you say it's been for you as a student athlete yourself to be able to connect with a student like that and be able to help him understand what the process is?
I think in general, it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to talk to a student athlete just because I went that route. But I do think a lot of our student athletes, especially at the high school level, are a little delirious of what it's actually going to take to get that athletic scholarship or make it to the next level. One of the things that the students are seeing now that we didn't see when we were younger is we saw what it took to get an athletic scholarship. Most of us went to schools that were 3,000, 4,000 people deep at your public school. Every year had 2 or 3 people that received those scholarships. So we saw that the scholarship went to the guy that was either really big, that was in the training room, that had great grades, that had all this. So we were able to see a model of this is what a student athlete looks like. A lot of our students today don't get that. They're going to high schools where they have a total of 600 to 700 people, and in their graduating senior class probably has 120 people. So everybody that's coming up believes they're good enough to make it to the next level or get an athletic scholarship, but they never seen nobody from the previous year get one, so they don't have a model of what it looks like. So when you're coming in to kind of explain to a student that, yes, you might put up the stats, but at this point you don't have the grades. Like, we need to make sure your GPA is extremely competitive because you're not 6'7". We got to make sure your GPA is extremely competitive because in other parts you're lacking. So you need to make sure you're the total package when they come in here. So if they like you athletically, they don't have any other struggles with you when it's time to give you the money. So a lot of our athletics, a lot of our student athletes, one of the things that they need to understand is if you're not being offered or if you're not being highly recruited, pretty much going into your senior year, you need to start prepping at finding financial assistance immediately. And I say going into your senior year, but realistically it has to be going into your junior year. If going into your junior year, you already haven't figured out that somebody wants to give you a full scholarship, and that means somebody has already pretty much made it known that at the appropriate time you're getting money to go to school, you need to go to your plan B, which is I need to start figuring out and filling out all the financial assistance I can because I need to get this money. Like, that's the main part about college that is, one, is lacking in the school system, it's lacking in the household, it's lacking in the community. We all need to come together and fully put a full court press on the financial aspects of college, like how to get kids to be able to pay for their college and come out without debt.
So, what would you say is the success rate, or how does the performance of the students that you guys deal with increase once they go through your program?
Well, we never had a student that didn't get accepted to college that went through the program. The majority of our students receive financial assistance, receive scholarships to go. All of our students get assistance with the financial aid packet, so they, with the FAFSA, all that. All of my students that we work with get assistance with test prep and things of that nature. So they're going in a lot more prepared. We haven't collected all the data for the students' completion rate, just because we've been around for like the total process of students that had a chance to complete it. Isn't the time frame, we're just not there yet where we started calculating. We started calculating it about 2 years ago. So in about 2 to 3 years we'll have pretty good data on that. But right now we're really liking what we see. We're liking the schools that people are choosing to go to, and that's where our biggest jump in data is really showing. The total number of schools that our students are applying to compared to the schools the students are applying to just at their traditional high school. The traditional high school student is preparing to fill out the CSU and the UC applications, but then that's usually the only application they fill out, maybe a couple HBCUs. Our students are filling out top tier applications. They're filling out applications to Stanford, to Harvey Mudd. They're filling out applications to Princeton. They're also filling out applications. We have students who, unfortunately, the SAT and the ACT was not a big part of their application process. It wasn't one of their strong points. So we have students filling out applications to SAT optional schools. Many of those schools are within the top 30 in the nation. And they're SAT optional. Very few people know about those, so we have our students filling out those as well. We have a lot of our students getting accepted to schools called no-loan schools, which means if you get accepted, there is no loan that you have to pay. And that's huge. Like, most students don't fill out not one application to a no-loan school.
So I have a question. I have a cousin who graduated from Stanford. I have a cousin that graduated from UCLA, and I have a cousin that just most recently this past year graduated from Tuskegee. But the one thing I tend to notice with a lot of young African American children who graduate and go to schools like that and succeed very well, they are most oftentimes females. Do you notice something that may be holding back a lot of the young black or minority male students that you deal with? Is it like a level of maturity? Is it their attitude? What is it? What are some of the factors? Or do you even see, like what I'm talking about, do you ever see that female students are a little more competitive or successful than the males?
And that's something that a lot of educational specialists are looking at right now, because you're just looking at minority males just aren't being successful in education at the level of the young ladies. I know there's a male by the name of Dr. Umar Johnson. He calls it the feminization of the black male. A lot of our black males aren't successful in school because we get in trouble for being masculine. The males that you see be extremely successful in school, their traits aren't as vicious, or isn't as loud or as boisterous as the ones that are not successful. You see a lot of people who are unsuccessful in school, and it has nothing to do with academics, but it's because they're playful. They play fight. They're grabbing papers off of somebody's desk. They're laughing. They're joking. They're having fun, and that's a huge issue, especially within the black and the Latino communities, because our young men, our education system hasn't figured out how to educate our young men appropriately. One of the answers that our education system tried to come up with was called special education. And what we're starting to see on that, a lot of our students are being mislabeled because they just can't handle our young men in their classes. where when sometimes you just need somebody to go in and just talk, show love and show care. We just don't get that. And that's a huge downside. We do need we need more males in education. We need more males in the position to make decisions within education. Also, we just need more males all around education. Females dominate the education system. A lot of your teachers are going to be females. A lot of your teachers are going to be other cultures. So as a black male, you're automatically going to be looked at a little differently, a little out of control, when it's just certain things that's just naturally within you to do. So,
I'm glad you said that we need more males involved in education, because it kind of leads into my next question, which would be, is there any opportunities or is there any time that your organization may welcome males to volunteer as like role model types, or as, you know, like assistant coaches, I guess you could say, within your organization when you go on tours or when you do any public speaking events or anything like that?
Man, I always welcome anybody who's willing to volunteer. Like we're out there, we're attacking our community as with as much effort, vinegar, or whatever you want to call it, as possible. We're going to start doing about 2 to 3 different programs every month. We're going to start digging in. We're going to need the effort of everybody. Like, if you're willing and you want to get in this fight with us, man, call me, 404-444-0188. That number is going to go directly to me. If I don't pick up, text me, leave a message. But we got something for everybody to do. We need help. And that's just what it is. Like, we need help. And our community has not been trained to assist the youth unless they're directly related to. Like, our community doesn't know that even though your kid graduated from that high school 4 years ago, there's a kid sitting in the seat that he sat in that needs a shirt, needs shoes. Like, are you donating those clothes back to the school? Are you still going to the high school football or basketball game even though your kid doesn't go there? Well, guess what? That money from that door goes to where they could get uniforms, or to where they could get tutors, or they could get different things. Like, are you walking the halls of that high school even though your child isn't there anymore to help with the security of the school? Like, man, like, if you contact me, there's a million different roles that we all could play, and we all could work towards it getting better.
And I have to say, my last question probably is, what is it that really keeps you motivated to do this work and keeps you encouraged to make sure that these young students succeed?
The fear of having more blood on my hands. I've been a counselor for 9 years now, and it's a fear. One of the most difficult things a man can ever go through is to say, like, I was part of an individual's life who no longer is here, or I was part of a young person's life who is in prison, or part of a young person's life that's on drugs, and like, man, you had an opportunity to do something to help that student, if you just didn't do that extra mile. Like, would that student's life have been the same had you went to their house, had you went to that basketball game, had you just talked to that student a couple more times in the hallway? If you created that group so that student don't have to go out there and get involved in any negative activities. If you coach this institution, like, man, like, once, like, the fear of blood on my hands, man, it drives to the point to where there's nothing else you want in life. Like, you just need to see students succeed. Like it's one of the biggest fears, but it's also one of the biggest things that'll make your heart melt. Like, I went to an event where one of my students graduated from Dominguez and brought my name up in a speech, and I broke down. It was one of those that, like, it swings, and just you need success. Like, our youth is us, and if our youth is not successful, that means we were negative and we were horrible adults. And I refuse to let my legacy go down like that.
Very good answer. Very good answer. So with that said, is there anything else that you want to add or anything else you want to add on for people to know?
I do. Please contact me. If you have a student that's in high school and you just want to get some questions and you just want to get some answers to some questions, contact me at 404-444-0188. Once again, 404-444-0188. You can email me at ajohnson@myroadtocollege.com. We also have a GoFundMe. I told you we're trying to get a group of students to Northern California, 4 nights, 5 days. We're trying to do it for them for free. So let's go ahead and get in this fight. Another thing I want to do is just say thank you for having me. We need more young, good brothers out here like this that's just going to be in it. Like the time for just discussing and talking about things we're going to do is over. Like we had 1 million people for too many years saying like, man, we need to do this as a group. We need to do this as a culture. We need to do that. Man, forget all that. It's time to just get out there. You fail, you fail.
Right.
But we need more programs. We need more effort. So just get out there and let's start doing something. That's about it.
Most definitely. I definitely want to say I definitely chose to have you as my first guest because, I definitely respect your efforts and I respect your work because I understand now how important education is in the good things that it can do for a lot of our young people when they get involved early. Because God knows, if I would have finished early, I would be a lot happier now. I'm happy now, but I would be a lot happier now than I would before, and I wouldn't have had to go through a lot of difficult stuff that I went through in life if I would have just finished school, straight out. But with that being said, I want to thank you for coming by, and we're going to conclude this edition of the Blackstone Temple. Thank everybody for watching.